It is my fervent belief that if martial law were declared and the federal government went to war with its own people, there would be no winners. Not the state, not the military, not the public. What would be lost in that moment is not just order, but legitimacy, trust, and the shared idea of a future. History shows us that when a government turns its force inward, it does so not from strength, but from failure. Martial law is not stability. It is an admission that democratic consent has broken down and that authority is being maintained through coercion rather than confidence. Once that line is crossed, the damage is not temporary, it is generational. What many underestimate is the response of everyday Americans. This is not a passive population. Across political, cultural, and regional lines, Americans are deeply armed, deeply divided, and deeply suspicious of concentrated power. If people believe their homes, families, or fundamental rights are under existential threat, resistance is not theoretical, it is likely. And not because people want chaos, but because survival instincts override ideology. The United States presents a uniquely horrifying landscape for internal conflict. Dense urban centers layered with critical infrastructure, vast rural regions that are difficult to monitor or control, communities already strained by economic inequality and institutional distrust. Urban conflict alone would be catastrophic. Cities are not battlefields. They are tightly interconnected systems where hospitals, power grids, water supplies, and housing exist side by side. Violence in that environment does not produce order. It produces humanitarian collapse. The idea that such a conflict could be clean, contained, or decisive is a fantasy. Once a state engages its own population with military force, loyalties fracture, lines blur, escalation feeds itself, and moral clarity disappears. This would not resemble a romanticized civil war. It would be societal unraveling, fear replacing trust, survival replacing citizenship, and the long-term consequences would extend far beyond any imagined victory. A country cannot militarize its way to unity.